Hi, my name is Scott Statson. I'm a recruiting industry veteran, and I'm here to give you a couple tips. And I appreciate you watching the podcast and listening to the podcast. I've got it on YouTube. I'll have it on Spotify, Apple, and podcast sources. But let me give you a little insight, kind of a tip, advice. Since I've been in the recruiting industry for over 30 years, I've worked with companies globally. I've built organizations globally. I've had teams work for me around the world. I've recruited. I dig in. I get my hands dirty. Lately, there's a lot of career advice going out there. So these are people that have had a good or positive experience interviewing, and now they're telling others what to do in an interview. I am a bit concerned on this advice. There's one bit of advice that I just threw my hands up and was kind of yelling at when I heard the other day. So this interview expert, in quotes, okay? And I'm rolling my eyes for those of you that can't see me. So this interview expert said, the secret to interviewing is just be yourself. I think this is terrible advice. We want to be authentic, but when you say be yourself, like there's been this movement recently in the past couple of years to be authentic. Excuse me, to be truthful, to be original. And I get that. You want to be truthful. You want to be original. You don't want to be something you're not. But it's kind of funny to hear this kind of advice because it's coming from social media, which is not truthful, not authentic. Everything is fake. It's internet news. It's like the news. Can you believe the news? No, you got to fact check. There's even fact checks in the fact check on the news. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think this be yourself is terrible advice. Like, it's superficially up front, it looks good, but behind the scenes, it's terrible advice. I had the opportunity to live in Southern California for a few years, and I went to movie studios. I went to TV studios. I was on game shows, actually. I got tickets and was on game shows. And then I was, toured movie studios. And one that stands out for me, and I'm going to date myself a bit, but I don't really care. I used to watch Dukes of Hazzard as a kid. And on Dukes of Hazzard, I loved it was just, as a kid growing up, it was so cool. Like driving cars, that kind of thing. And I went to Warner Brothers where they filmed Dukes of Hazzard, and I had the opportunity to go in some of the houses. And the front of the house was one person's house. The back of the house, which wasn't a full house, it was in the center, it was just like sticks and duct tape. Like there was nothing. It wasn't a house. It was superficial. But you walk inside the door and then walk outside another door, and it's somebody else's house. And to me, it was a bit of a shock. I realized they kind of cheated me. I believe that they were two different locations. It was two different people. Like it wasn't real. Like the fact it wasn't real kind of hit me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, all those years, and this is what I've been watching. Like it just wasn't real. They make the storyline, they make it exciting, and you think it's not a real, it's TV show. But you think at least the locations are real. They look real. They're not real. They're not the same. It's not. And it's very much like this advice where superficially up front looks good, but you open the door and it's empty. Like there's nothing in there. It's fake. It's social media fakeness. So I want people to be authentic, okay? I want them to be real. I don't think when you interview, you should be someone else. But I think you better be damn well prepared. Being yourself is kind of an excuse. It helps you relax for the interview. It's advice that calms you. Just be yourself. And a lot of people take that as they don't have to do work. They don't have to be prepared. Just be yourself. I think it makes you comfortable, but interviews, being prepared and being ready and being successful in an interview is not comfortable. It takes preparation. It takes work. And the be yourself in the end, does that really pay off? I don't know if it does. Let me just give you a little story. So I had a client of mine that didn't really want to do the work. I could tell that they were going to fly by the seat of their pants. And I really pushed this person on the importance of homework and preparation. Like, I can do so much as a counselor, helping people, but you need to kind of figure things out on your own. And you need to kind of practice. Like, tell me about yourself. Well, I got that. No, give me the answers. Let's run through this. Tell me about you. What's your strengths? What's your weakness? It seems like a simple question. It's not. Most people fail at that because they're not prepared. They don't think through. They're not given guidance on it. And just being yourself and winging it, that's what this person did. Like, I pushed them. We got in. This position was $100,000 more than they were making, and they legitimately could get the position. They could get the offer. I walked them through. They listened on the first 2 interviews. The 3rd interview, they decided, I'm just going to kind of be myself. And it was terrible. It was terrible direction for them. And I really, really pushed them to, no, we need to dig deeper. Like, as we go on in the interviews, it gets tougher and tougher. So let's practice a few things. And they didn't want to do it. They decided to go against my guidance and be themselves and just wing it. You can guess what happened. They didn't get the job offer. It didn't go well. And what happens is they felt terrible, or they could have done something different, or something happened. Now, with these clients, when we can do it, I have them video record. It was a live stream recorded interview. So they were able to record it. So what we went through is, after the interview, is kind of where did it go wrong, and how could we practice, and how could we do better? Because even though they failed and they could have gotten this job, there's more jobs out there. There's other positions out there. But I wanted them to think through, here's the critique, and here's how we can kind of make this better next time around when we're asked this. Or just, sometimes it's tone, sometimes it's phrasing, sometimes it's often very small things. This person did a lot of bigger things, more glaring things, because they were just kind of winging it, really. And winging it, to me, is kind of like, be yourself. Don't prepare, don't dig in, don't be ready. Like, interviews are stress. Like, they're one of the most stressful things you can go through in life, but they don't have to be. With preparation comes success. Like, it works that way. Now, not every interview is going to be a success story, but if you decide to be yourself and not do your homework and not prepare for the simple questions, then it's not gonna end up well, and you're gonna be overstressed because the first interview you spent so much time, but it didn't go well. I used to think that this quote went to the Navy SEALs. There's a quote that says, "We don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training." I always thought that came from the Navy SEALs, but I think it comes from thousands of years prior to that in Greek. Some Greek philosopher. Again, it's, we don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. Don't fall. Don't fall for terrible advice on being yourself. Yes, be authentic, but train. Prepare. Have a partner or a consultant, whoever it is, help you, guide you, give you direct, critical feedback on what you're doing. Prepare for the easy questions, and I roll my eyes. None of them are easy. They're all trick questions. But you can do this. Prepare, be authentic, but work your ass off on preparation. You got this.